You're listening to the Adventurous Reinvention podcast. I'm Allison Boyle, aka She Dreams of Alpine, and this is the show that's dedicated to all the adventurous spirits out there who have either been transformed by the outdoors or are interested in what it looks like to step into a new, adventurous, and courageous kind of identity in their life. It doesn't matter what your background is in the outdoors, what age you're starting at, or where you grew up. If you're curious about the outdoors and using adventure as a way to reinvent yourself, you're in the right place. I'll be sharing all kinds of personal adventure stories, lessons I've learned from the mountains, teaching what I know about the outdoors and leadership, and interviewing some amazing adventurous women all along the way. I've been coaching women on becoming safe, confident, and self-sufficient backpackers and leaders of their own adventurous lives since 2018, and I know exactly what big fears and self-doubts can pop up along the way. I have so much to share with you, so let's dive in. Hello everyone, it's Allison, and before we dive into today's episode, I wanted to just kind of give a quick announcement. So I'm taking a little summer break from the podcast. I've got some very exciting personal adventures planned for the summer and also some really epic client trips that are coming up on the horizon. So this pause is really just to give me and my team a little space to breathe and reset and focus in other areas of our business right now. But I didn't want to leave you hanging with nothing to listen to over the summer. So I am going to be sharing something really special. I'm going to be sharing a behind the scenes audio series from my hike on the John Muir Trail. So my husband Michael and I set out to thru-hike the John Muir Trail back in 2020. So that is a while ago now. We were aiming to finish it in 22 days, but due to some massive wildfires and a full national forest closure, we had to bail early. This is something we definitely didn't expect. So this series, for some reason, we decided to record like a daily podcast back then. This was before I even had the podcast. But this series is going to be showing you a real, raw, behind the scenes audio that we recorded on the trail when we were out there doing the John Muir Trail, as we dealt with all the highs, the lows, the relationship dynamics, and also the huge disappointment of getting kicked off the trail early in 2020, and then our eventual comeback in 2021 to finish it. So if you have ever dreamed of hiking the JMT, or you just love a good adventure story, you are going to love these sort of like bite-sized episodes that are coming up of our kind of behind the scenes trail diary. This is something that I've never released before. So I really think you're going to enjoy this, and it will kind of like fill that, adventure itch that you might be getting while we're taking a little break from our normal episodes. And this series will run through about mid-August, and then we will be back with fresh episodes on the Adventurous Reinvention podcast. If you're listening to this kind of midway in the series, be sure to go back and listen to previous episodes. But at the end of the day, I hope you enjoy this and that it's a nice little kind of thing to get you excited about your own adventures and maybe even eventually pursuing the John Muir Trail one day. All right, let's dive in. Okay, hello. We are on day 5 of the JMT podcast.
Yes, we are, and I very much liked this day.
Today was a good day, yeah. I feel like all around we had like one of our favorite days so far of the whole trip.
Man, we covered a lot of ground, and a lot of it was downhill, even though we went over our tallest pass.
Let's summarize really quick like what we did. So
I know, well, I was just giving a general gist of what I thought of the day. I'm just saying how everything worked out, and we have one of the most bitching campgrounds ever, which we'll get to.
Yeah, you're jumping ahead.
Yes. I'm excited.
Okay. Well, today we left our campground around 9 a.m. and so that was at Shepherd's Pass Junction. And then we headed over over Forester Pass, and then came down to, I actually forget the name of where we're actually camping right now. I think it's Upper...
I thought we were jumping ahead here.
No, I was giving the synopsis of what we did today, just like an overview.
Well...
I'm just trying to remember the name of the campground we're actually at.
She's looking it up right now. Maybe we shouldn't give it away.
I think it's like near here.
That is it, but that's interesting. It doesn't have a name.
Upper Vidette Meadow.
Oh, yes.
But it's not exactly at Upper Vidette Meadow. It's like there's Upper Vidette Meadow, which has it has like a bear locker at it on the map. But we just hiked a little ways past that bear locker, or I guess
if you're going northbound like we passed these campsites first, which are up the little hill from
Vidette Meadow. So
like, if you're going southbound, you have to go past it a little bit.
Yeah, you have to go past it. But anyways, the total day, like for today, was around, let's see, 12 miles, 11.9 miles, and 2,200 feet of gain. So
tell them a little bit about Forester.
So Forester Pass is one of the highest passes that we'll do on the whole JMT.
Elevation-wise.
I mean, besides, like, we technically, like, we were at Trail Crest, but we didn't go over Trail Crest from the Mount Whitney portal side. That one is technically a little bit higher. I think it's like 13,400, and Forester is like 13,200 feet.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, it's a pretty gnarly pass. So pretty much from our campground, like earlier this morning, to Forester Pass was entirely uphill for us.
Yes.
So like that was all of our gain was in the first 5-ish miles of our hike. So 2,200 feet in about 5 miles.
Yes. But coming from the north or south to north, it felt like
going northbound, it
felt like you like it wasn't one big pass. It felt like we were just going uphill at the beginning from the campground, and then we ended up at the base of this giant granite wall which has switchbacks up it, and then that felt like the pass. But when you pass the other side, or pass through to the other side, it's like all downhill. But if you're coming up that side, like
if you're coming from the north, if you're going southbound on the JMT, it's much more. I'm pretty sure it's like 3,000 or 4,000 feet of elevation gain.
Yes.
To get to Forester Pass compared to our 2,200 feet of gain.
And we haven't done the exact math, but it does feel like it would be gnarlier going southbound, because the range of the geography just seems so much crazier. It's all granite mountain for the majority of like what we hiked from the campground to the top of the pass, which we started out in a forest, and then we ended up like in an alpine setting. This just felt like you're on top of the world, descending down. Like it took us forever to get down to the trees, it felt like.
Yeah, it did. But it was like, you know, it was interesting going northbound on the JMT over Forester Pass. It was like we kept getting closer and closer to this like mountainous wall, and both you and I were like, I have no idea where this pass exists, because we kept like searching the wall for like switchbacks, and you couldn't tell where they were, and we kept like guessing, and it all just looked like impossible to go up.
And it ended up being the most impossible looking wall from afar.
Yeah, it did.
But
then when you got up close,
vertical.
It's like they have these really nice switchbacks all the way up to the top. But I feel like when you come southbound from the other side heading towards Whitney, it's actually like much more noticeable what your route is, where the notch is.
Yeah.
Once you get closer. But I will say, like, this, if you go southbound, there's like 4 false summits. There's like hill after hill after hill.
That's the thing, right? It's like we were able to see what we had to cross for a while.
Yeah.
And going southbound, man, you
wouldn't see it for a long time.
You probably get your heart broken many times.
Well, actually, I do know I have done Onion Valley to Whitney Portal before, and I was telling Michael that I do remember being at certain points and thinking like, oh, that must be Forester Pass. Mm-hmm. And then we would get over that hump and be like, oh, maybe it's this next thing, and then it wouldn't be. And so, yeah, but that was like 2014. So I didn't remember all of this very well until like we were here again, visiting it again today. So Also, it was covered in snow last time I did it.
Yeah, there was very small patches of snow here and there. There's some beautiful lakes once we crossed over the other side. Great views at the pass.
I was going to say, like, I will say this morning was tough for me, though, because we had cowboy camping cheese grits again.
Oh, my gosh, those things kick your ass.
And they're so hefty. Like, they're good, but it's so much food. And I couldn't eat it all. And then I just felt like the cheese grits were trying to come back up, like, for the first half of the uphill. So next time, lesson learned, like, don't eat as much cheese grits. I might pour out, like, half my recipe for...
Yeah, you've been having a hard time.
I cannot get through them.
For me, it's perfect. Because it's one of the breakfasts that, like, is definitely carrying a little bit more calories than the rest, and you can feel it. Like, I just feel... I don't get hungry as quickly in the day.
I feel so dense after I eat them.
They're dense. I can see what you mean.
Like they're expanding inside, like the grits continue to expand in my stomach.
And you didn't even eat them all.
No.
Like the first time you ate them all, which...
I powered through it.
You powered through it, but now it's become like a psychological thing where...
Yeah, now I'm like, I don't even know if I like them.
Yeah, because they make you feel full and probably uncomfortable. Yeah, so
I'm secretly trying to bargain a trade with Michael, cereal for cowboy camping cheese grits.
I told you it's on as long as you also trade me your ramen Parmesan.
I don't want to trade
for one of the other dinners. Well, because I told you my thing was that I don't hate the cereal.
We'll table it. We'll have this one
later.
Anyways.
So I think overall, it was a great day.
Yeah, and like when we got to the uphill, also I just wanted to mention, like, I decided to take my headphones out today and listen. I had downloaded a couple books on tape.
You should be ashamed.
Why?
Listening to headphones in this ridiculously insane fantasy of a place.
Oh, it didn't make me appreciate it less. It made me appreciate it more. So I have one of my favorite books downloaded, and it's Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. And I listen to it like every year, but it's one of my hands down favorite books. I think everybody should read it or listen to it. But anyways, I just didn't want to do that last bit of uphill and be thinking about the uphill. I wanted to be like, I wanted to be inspired.
Yeah.
And so I just like put those headphones in, I put that book in, and I didn't think about the uphill at once. It felt like it went by so fast. And then at the top of the pass, it was just like amazing.
Yeah. And like I said, going northbound, that pass went by really quick.
Yeah.
But I mean, let me give explanation. I think it was one of my favorite days just because the scenery was so grand. And I told Allison, I'm like, Allison's been on a lot more hikes out in this area than I have, and I'm just like getting punched in the face every day by how amazing this backcountry is. And I realize, like, a lot of the stuff I've done hasn't taken me deep into the backcountry and hasn't it's been for like climbing or whatever. So you might end up somewhere feel secluded and stuff, but you're still not very far from the roads. And today was like the biggest punch in the face.
Y'all, I've invited him on backpacking trips before. He just has not come with me.
But also, Forester Pass is what we kept hearing is where the smoke kind of clears. And it is true. Since we woke up in the morning in the direction we were headed, where we could see Forester Pass, there is no smoke. And lo and behold, there hasn't been anywhere near as much smoke as the rest of the trail so far, the last 4 days. And it got like a little hazy towards the afternoon or the early evening, but nowhere near. Like it could also be like just smog, like back in the days when there wasn't 20 fires or actually 500 something fires going on. So that's another reason why. And we started, once you get back down to the tree line after Forester Pass, we stuck by this creek that has just been amazing. The creek has gotten bigger, and it's full waterfalls, small waterfalls. And
Michael's mind is blown today.
Yeah, well, it's just it was, like I said, the scenery has been amazing. We didn't come across too many people.
And the campsite that we're at tonight is probably one of our favorite campsites, which Michael kind of alluded to at the beginning, but we're essentially by ourselves here by this beautiful raging creek river thing. And there's waterfalls, and we have easy access to the river, and there's nobody around. And
yeah, that main campsite, this is just outside of that, and we went down to that main campsite just to scope it out, and it's a little further away from the creek. But literally this site is by itself, and even if this place was packed, we wouldn't have anybody anywhere within 50 yards of us. And it's closer to not just the creek, but a giant waterfall. Yeah. By this creek standards, a giant waterfall. And the river or creek, whatever, splits into two in this area. And you can there's enough rocks where you can just hop on to the other side. And I mean, you can just explore, and it's just insane.
When we got to camp, we did kind of the normal things. We sort of have a routine when we get to camp now. The first thing we do is take off our shoes, of course, and put on flip-flops. And then we set up our tent. And then lately what we've been doing is we brought this line with us, and we set it across some trees, and then we go and wash our shirts that we've been hiking in all day in the river. And because they're so smelly.
Yeah, we wear the same shirt every day.
Yeah, because we
only brought it to night clothes.
Yeah, we only brought one hiking shirt and one sleep shirt. But I like that little routine we've come up with, washing. And I wash my undies and my socks in the river as well.
And all the fish die.
And then we hang them up, and then by the morning they're usually dry. So, because we have really lightweight, clothing and stuff.
This place was so cool that I was so distracted. Our routine, Allison had to keep telling me hey, go set up the tent. And I mean, usually I'm on it, but I'm just my head's spinning. And
I like to get everything set up, and then we can enjoy it. Because I just like to have our space kind of settled, so it's not gonna get dark on us and have to do it.
I've been taking photos like crazy this whole trip. As I've talked before, I have my camera with me, and we can talk about the reason why later, some other episode. But the sun was, was getting low, so it was nice and golden and orange, and there's waterfalls, and I want to take photos. I want to fish.
Do you want to tell everybody
oh yeah,
what happened today?
To top off the day, like I said, I wanted to take photos and fish. So once I got all that out of the way and I got my pole out, I immediately started fishing, and I caught 2 or 3 little guys in the most amazing pool with tiny little waterfall in front, and there's a log that fallen across.
What were they? Golden trout?
Yeah, it's golden trout. So far, that's the only thing I've caught out here.
What were you fishing with?
So I was fishing with a fly rod with a, I'm guessing you're talking bait.
Yeah, what
I
bait?
was using a grasshopper, and
I thought you were going to use a black ant.
And a black ant. So I was using double bait.
Oh, gotcha.
Because I'm testing out that method. And I wasn't planning, I've been trying to catch to cook, but today I wasn't planning on doing that because I just wanted to do some fishing for a little bit, and then maybe go explore some more, take some more photos, and then eventually we were gonna have to cook dinner. But I just kept going further up the creek a little bit, and I eventually stumbled across this pool where I didn't walk up and look down into first, because I wanted to see if I can figure out where the fish was. And about 2 casts in, I caught something and it felt a little heavier. And when I reeled it in, it was by far the biggest fish I had caught the whole trip. At least 7 or 7+ inches. And we decided to cook it.
Yeah, it's our first backcountry trout cooking fish.
Yeah, wild fish.
And we packed, like, in our bear cans, like, some sheets of foil and salt. Well, okay, actually, we created, like, a spice packet, and what we put in it was, like, salt, pepper, and this lemon. It's called tru-lemon. It's like lemon powder stuff.
It's stuff that we put in our other lunch and dinner recipes. Yeah. And I just threw some in there because we weren't going to have actual lemons.
Lemon is always really good on fish. So
yeah. And so, the last thing you want to do when you kill a wild animal is screw it up and not be able to eat it and have its, meat go to waste.
What word are you trying to say?
It's been a long day. So we cooked it, but we wrapped it in foil, like she said. We seasoned it, and then we had to cook it like directly on the MSR stove. Yeah, which is violently hot, even in the low settings.
Oh yeah. So my MSR stove, I have the MSR reactor.
Yeah,
that thing is amazing, and even though it's heavier than some ultralight stoves we could have brought, I love that stove so much because it literally boils water in like 2 seconds. So you're not wasting fuel as much. Yeah. And then also it's like wind resistant. So if it's super windy out or very cold, it like still operates at like top notch function. It's like my favorite stove ever.
It's a great stove. And I actually was a little scared of it because I thought it burnt the fish, but it actually, what I should have done, long story short, the fish came out actually very good. Perfect almost.
It was delicious.
Yeah. And we were smelling a little bit of burnt, but we just didn't wrap it in enough foil. So I guess the foil was burning a little bit, but I pulled it out just in time, and I didn't let it sit on either side for too long. Kept flipping it back and forth because you're not really supposed to cook trout super fast from what I heard. And so we got very lucky. The fish was delicious, and this is an experience.
It tasted like, I don't know, like any other fish. It didn't taste super gamey or anything.
Fishy, yeah. So the trick, and again, I'd never done this before myself.
Just own it.
And with trout.
You're a trout master now.
Well, I did research because I wasn't going to try to figure it out and screw up and waste the fish. So you're supposed to bleed it, which I did, and that gets rid of that taste. So we did that. It came out very delicious, and this is one of my bucket list things from the trip. I just wanted to do this. I was vegetarian for a very long time, like 7 years, and I eat meat now again. And it's nice to know where your meat comes from, and to actually do that yourself is I think as close as you're gonna get to I guess I don't know what word I'm digging for, but to me, it just feels responsible more than anything. So it's an experience I wanted to have, and so I'm glad that it's checked off. And
I'm sure we'll have more trout.
I'm sure we will. Yeah. We're not gonna.
More foil.
Yeah, I especially now that I'm experienced. We can do it even better and even more efficient.
We're trying to be like selective with it, and the little ones we're throwing back. It's like we're really trying to.
No, yeah, I don't.
Only eat the ones that like.
There's a legal limit.
This was our first one.
Yeah, and it's the first one I felt confident in the size being good enough. So.
But yeah, I mean, it was a pretty good evening, and I just like while he was fishing, I read on my book. I'm reading East of Eden right now. And, I don't know. We made dinner, and tomorrow we head out for our resupply.
Our first resupply.
So our first leg of the trip is like officially kind of coming to an end.
Yeah.
And then we'll start on the second leg. We have 4, like, I'm calling them legs of the trip because that's just how the resupplies are splitting them up. So
yeah, I guess if there's nothing else to mention, I have been having a little bit of a hard time sleeping, just tossing and turning a lot.
Yeah,
my sleeping bag's it's definitely on the warm side, so it's like a balance of having it unzipped and having some extremities being cold, but the rest of my body being fine. It hasn't been terrible because
he has a 0-degree bag.
Yeah, it hasn't been terrible. Like, I just wake up a lot throughout the night. It's not like I wake up and I'm like awake for 2 hours. But anyways, that's just been
I've been sleeping
You've been
very
sleeping
well.
like crazy. I'm jealous.
I like fall asleep at 8 p.m. every night. Yeah, or 8:30, 8 to 8:30. It's almost my bedtime right now.
Actually, yeah, this is the latest we've done the podcast. It's dark out.
I sleep like a rock. The only time I wake up is sometimes my like arms fall asleep, just because the nature of like sleeping pads, and I have to turn and then I pass out again. And it's been very hard for me to get up in the mornings. Michael's usually he's the one who sleeps in, but I feel like you've been more of a like, let's get going.
Yeah.
Maybe
and
because
it's
you
funny
haven't been
because
sleeping
well, it's usually when it's time to get up, it's for some reason my body's like, oh, I'm sleeping. So I'm like, screw you, we're getting up. Like, so it hasn't been that hard, and I like the timing we've developed with getting up and getting to camp like early afternoon.
We usually get to camp late
afternoon.
Anywhere from like 3 to 5, just
Early
depending
evening.
on how many miles we're doing.
Yeah, so the one day that we slept in quite a bit, which was the second day, that was a little too late. It's a little warmer when you start hiking, and
Today we kind of got started late though.
we did get started a little late, yeah, but
We just had a lot of downhill at the end of the day, so I think we did that fast.
yeah.
But anyways, I think that's all we've got for today.
Yep.
Oh, I guess a fun fact. I mean, like, my toes are doing well. I know you all are very concerned. I just I keep tending to them and wrapping them up really well. And like, so far, like that's been working really well. Nothing new has formed and nothing's getting worse. So I think
that's good.
I think I'm going to make it the next, what do we have, like 17 days?
Something like 17.
But today I did get heat rash on the back of my legs.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
Not weird because you do get that. You have gotten that in the past.
Anytime it's like, it wasn't like particularly hot, but I guess like the sun, we were very exposed all day. Like,
I mean, just the last 5 days.
Well, no, but I mean like
sun.
some of our most of our hiking has been like through forests and like
This
less
was very
exposed.
exposed, yeah.
This today was like literally all in the sun, and there have been 0 clouds or anything, and so I think just the back of my legs just got beat by the sun all day, and so now they're like red and bumpy, and it's kind of weird.
Are they still a bit bumpy?
No, I soaked them in the river when we
helped.
got here, and I feel like that did help cool my legs down. But I should really like put sunscreen on the back of my legs, probably.
Oh, I guess last side note, we met like this really old lady, and she had like the most destroyed looking shoes we've seen. Like, were holes all over the place, and it was kind of odd because the rest of her gear seemed fine. She had like,
We didn't really meet her though. She kind of just like hiked by us.
I know, but it was just kind of like the most interesting person we came across.
She's just a hardcore hiker. What can she say?
Yeah, she was by herself. She must have
stop
been.
her.
She must have been at least late 60s, 70.
Yeah, she was hardcore.
Yeah. So savage lady on the trail, given 0. You know what?
Also there
about
was
her shoes.
there was a trail runner today that
Oh
like
my
lapped
gosh.
us on Forester.
She's
Like, we were like, oh, you running all the way to Whitney? She was like, no, I just ran from Onion Valley up to the Forester and I'm running back. And we were like, dang.
Again, give them an idea of what that is. That's like, what, 15, no, more than that.
I don't know
miles?
how many miles. It's got to be like about 20 miles.
With like at least 4,000.
No, wait. It's got to be like 40 miles because I think it's only 20 one way.
Yeah. Dude.
So it's got to be like 40 miles and
I
like
just not put that into perspective. That lady's
7,000 feet of gain or something. I'm just pulling that number out of the top of my head.
And she passed us twice and we didn't, once going up and when she came back and she was running the whole time.
Yeah, she was savage too. So
wow.
Anyways,
yes,
lots of really rad people out there.
Killing it.
Doing fun things on the JMT. So
yeah.
I think that's a good place to put a pin in it.
Yeah.
All right.
And to put a sleeping bag on it.
Yep. All right. Good night.
Good night. Bye.
Hey, I wanted to thank you real quick for tuning into the show and listening all the way to the end. If you love this episode and you want deeper support in becoming a safe, confident, and self-sufficient hiker and backpacker, then head over to shedreamsofalpine.com/waitlist to learn more about our Backpacking Badass coaching program, where I teach you absolutely everything you need to know to be self-reliant on the trails and stop waiting around on others for the adventure invite. So I'd love to help you more in your journey of stepping into your adventurous identity, and that program is the absolute best place for us to start working together. So again, that's shedreamsofalpine.com/waitlist, and you can learn all about it there. So that's it for today, folks. I hope you get to spend some time outside this week, and I'll be back very soon with a brand new episode. Bye.